Welcome to the Ukrainian Myth and Legends podcast.
In a village lost to the dense forests and choking swamps lived a blacksmith named Ostap. He was known for his brute strength and grim silence. The villagers whispered that a fire burned in his eyes, hot enough to melt iron, and that he consorted with unholy powers. Ostap lived alone, his forge standing at the edge of the village, away from prying eyes. One day, a young woman named Orina drifted into the village. She was as beautiful as a spring blossom, but a profound sadness lurked in her eyes. No one knew where she came from or what she sought in this God-forsaken place. Ostap and Orina met at the old village well. Their eyes locked, and in that instant, the blacksmith felt his heart seize with a feeling he'd never known. He fell for Orina immediately, but his love was dark and all-consuming, like the flames of his forge. Orina returned Ostap's affection, but her love was laced with fear. She saw not only a strong, passionate man, but also something dark and perilous within him. She sensed he was hiding a terrible secret. One night, Ostap led Orina to his forge. He confessed that his bloodline was cursed. Once every generation, one of his family must offer a sacrifice to V, the lord of the underworld.
Цей кінжал несе лиш одну мету.
To appease him and save the village from his wrath. This time, Ostap said, the sacrifice had to be her. He explained that her beauty and purity were the only offerings that could satisfy V and spare Ostap's own soul from eternal damnation. Orina tried to run, but Ostap's strength was overwhelming. He caught her and dragged her towards an old pagan shrine deep in the forest. There, upon a stone altar, he intended to offer her
Ми майже на місці.
to his dark master. As they reached the shrine, the very ground began to writhe. Gnarled, monstrous creatures clawed their way from the earth. They were V's servants, come to claim their prize. They formed a circle around Ostap and Orina, their eyes burning with malevolent fire. Ostap forced Urina onto the cold stone altar and raised the dagger. But as he looked down into her eyes, he saw not fear, but a profound love and forgiveness. In that moment, he knew he could not do it. His love for her was the only thing not tainted by the curse. Ostap threw the dagger aside and pulled Urina into his arms. The ground split open, and from the chasm rose V himself, his great, heavy eyelids shut. He commanded his minions to lift them. But as his terrible eyes opened, the pure love between Ostap and Urina erupted into a blinding white light. It was a force V could not see, a power he could not comprehend. The light seared his servants and forced the great demon back into the abyss. The curse was broken.
Bring it to life.
Greetings, dear listeners. We have just heard the story of the blacksmith Ostap and his fateful love, a story where ancient terror collided with the power of the human heart. At the center of this terror is a powerful and mysterious figure named V. Who is he? What is his place in Ukrainian demonology? And was love truly the only salvation from him? To understand this, we are joined today by an expert in Ukrainian mythology, Olena Voitenko. Olena, welcome.
Hello! I'm very pleased to join this discussion on such a multifaceted topic. The story of Ostap is a wonderful illustration of how folk beliefs were woven into human destinies.
So, let's start with the main antagonist. In the book, Ostap made a pact with V to save his village. Who is V in the beliefs of our ancestors? Was he truly so all-powerful?
Absolutely. V was considered the most terrifying and powerful representative of the unclean force. He is not just one of many demons, he is their chief, appointed by Satan himself. His domain is the earth. He lives underground, and his very appearance attests to this, covered in lichen and moss, with hair full of mud and filth. He embodies a chthonic, subterranean power. His gait is heavy, he is bandy-legged and squat, and his voice booms as if from beneath the ground.
The book mentions V's servants crawling out of the ground. Did he have helpers? And how do they differ from, say, common devils?
That's a very important question because there is a whole hierarchy in Ukrainian demonology. Chorti, or devils, are, so to speak, of a lower rank. Although they originated from Satan, a former angel, they became more like humans over time. They marry and are born, though they do not die. They're cunning, live among people, and buy souls for wealth by signing pacts in blood from the little finger. They can shapeshift into anyone, a lord, a Jew, even a clergyman, but never into a dog, as the dog is considered man's most sincere friend. According to lore, it was the devils who invented drunkenness, smoking, and foul language.
And is there anyone worse than the Chorti but lower than V?
Yes, there are the Diki. They are even worse. Shaggy with red eyes, iron fingers, and an iron staff. But all these unclean forces, the Chorti, the Diki, and ghouls, are subordinate to V. When they cannot cope with a task, they call on their master for help.
And that's when V appears. In our story, his gaze was deadly. Is that his main weapon?
Yes, and it's his most famous feature. V has incredibly long and heavy eyelids that hang all the way to the ground. He is blind, like all evil, and cannot lift them himself. He needs the help of the entire unclean horde, which rushes to raise his eyelids for him. And when his single eye opens, his gaze becomes lethal. It was believed that Satan himself resides in that gaze, and rare is the person who can withstand it without looking. An encounter with V always ended tragically for a human.
That explains why Ostap was so afraid. But in folk beliefs, there are always methods of protection. What did all these evil forces fear?
They feared a few things, most of all. Firstly, the thunder of the god Perun. Secondly, things associated with holiness and light. The sign of the cross and the crowing of the first roosters, which announces the sunrise and forces the unclean to flee. A powerful ward was also the magic circle, drawn with a consecrated knife, which made a person invisible to evil spirits.
But did this work on V?
And this is where his main danger lies. Unlike his underlings, V cannot see, and therefore does not fear, either the cross nor the magic circle. Because of his lowered eyelids, he simply doesn't notice these wards. He can only be defeated when his eyes are already open. And for that, a different, higher power is needed. In our story, that power was pure love, which erupted into light, a force that evil could neither see nor comprehend.
Very interesting. Does V have other names or perhaps historical prototypes?
Yes, he was also called Shuludivi Bunyaka. There is a legend about how he transformed into a Tartar chieftain, and Prince Roman Galitsky beheaded him. But even after that, the head continued to live and roll. When its brows were lifted with iron pitchforks, its gaze incinerated the entire area. This legend also explains the origin of the place name, Pohonia, meaning the chase, because a chase was organized after the head, and it was finally chopped into pieces.
So the belief in V's deadly gaze is directly related to a more common superstition, the evil eye.
Exactly. The belief in the evil eye, or uroki, is an echo of the myth of V. It was believed that there are people whose gaze can cause harm. An animal will perish from it, a person will fall ill, and a tree will wither. Such a curse could only be lifted with special incantations. So the image of V is not just a tale about a monster. It is the codification of the ancient fear of a malevolent gaze, of an invisible destructive power that can emanate from another being.
It's incredible how deeply one mythological figure is rooted in folk culture. Olena, thank you so much for this fascinating conversation. You've revealed the world of Ukrainian demonology to us from a completely new perspective.
Thank you for having me. I am always happy to share the richness of our heritage. And on that note, we conclude. I hope that now, when you reread old legends, or even the works of Gogol, you will see much more meaning in them. Until next time.
If this story resonated with you and awakened your curiosity for the world beyond, let us know. Your like is like a candle flame that lights our path through the darkness of myths. Tell us in the comments what other legends live on in your memory. Which spirits should we disturb next time? Subscribe to continue wandering the paths of ancient tales with us, and ring the bell to be the first to hear the call when a new story emerges.